unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back to our Nebraska Women's Basketball Hour. I'm Jessica Coody here with the head coach, Amy Williams. Well, Coach, I did want to talk to you about, we had a great event today. Karen Jennings spoke. Your old coach, Angela Beck, came back, and I know that some of the assistants were there, but how special was that to get to reunite with your old coaches and some of your former teammates?
Yeah, that was just awesome, just amazing. What an awesome event that the University of Nebraska and our athletic department put on to just honor the women's sports here. I think it says a lot about the way that this university just celebrates and uplifts our female athletes and the women's sports programs here. And it was an awesome event, and just even more special because Karen Jennings, who I just thought had an amazing message for all of the women's athletes that were present, and really, just all of the people that were attending the event. Just she has just such an amazing outlook, and so anytime that I can have her get a touch on our athletes, I am all for that. She's just, she's pretty special and unique. And then to have, Angela Beck and Teresa Becker and Brenda VanLengen and, several of my former coaches that when I was playing here, just blessed to play for back, just pretty special, and just what an awesome day it was today.
That was my first time meeting Angela Beck, and she was awesome. Was so fortunate to get to chat with her for a few minutes. What were some of the things you took away playing from her coaching style that maybe you put into your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, I mean, she is just an absolute hoot. I just loved playing for her. I think that some of the biggest things, just the intensity that she had. She was incredibly competitive and had an intensity about her. And I think, just really instilled in me that if you're going to do something, you just do it to the very best. You might as well just do it to the very, very best of your ability. Don't take one single rep of one single drill for granted. And, I just think that focus that she has to be so intense in each moment was something that just really rubbed off on us as athletes, and something that I definitely take with me from my time playing for her.
Do you remember the initial conversation you had with her when you were going to come be a Cornhusker?
Yes, I do. I remember several of, just those early practices and days. Lots of fun, fond memories that we were actually kind of rehashing, and but certainly I feel just eternally grateful. I know we talk about all the time. I walked on the team and then eventually earned a scholarship under Coach Beck. But the opportunity that she gave me to come and be a walk-on in this program and to represent, Nebraska and to be a part of this this women's basketball program, I'm just, eternally grateful to her for that. And so it's definitely something that I hold dear.
I don't think we've ever talked about it, at least not on this show. What drew you to Nebraska? Why did you want to pursue that opportunity to walk on here?
Yeah, well, a couple of things kind of go into that decision, and one major thing is, for me, I just always wanted to challenge myself at the highest level, and I just, being kind of a little minnow in the big ocean was fine with me, but I just wanted to be able to experience like playing with and against, the best people in the country, and see, how that could elevate myself. And I love basketball. I love being around it. I love learning. Learning is kind of in my strength finders top five, my number one strength. And so to be able to learn from the best and play with the best, and was something that really drew me to Nebraska. And my first year we were playing in tournaments, in Cameron Indoor Stadium at Duke, and that experience to be able to be playing across the country with and against the best teams was something that drew me to Nebraska. But also, it didn't hurt that I was coming to Nebraska on academic scholarship, and I was a math and biology double major here at Nebraska, and was really drawn to come here to be able to study as well.
We're going to hear from Brenda VanLengen here in just a few minutes. She recalls you on the practice court. I mean, you were just relentless, your work ethic, and that they have, as a staff, said, we got to keep her on this floor. We got to find minutes for her. And you had talked about that a couple weeks ago before the injury. You were set to maybe have more opportunity. So what was your approach when you could walk on and you could, just say, hey, I'm here, I'm part of the team. But how did you go about, making sure, hey, I want to give myself the best opportunity to be able to earn some playing time?
Yeah, well, for me, I just wanted the coaching staff to see that I was going to always be ready. And, so if it didn't matter if we were doing, if it was sprints, then I was going to sprint, and I might be tired, but I was going to be the first one, toes back on that line, ready to go again if they needed us to go again. And, whatever drill we were doing, I wanted to make sure that I competed at the highest level and got as most out of each drill as I possibly could. And for me, I just really felt like, my approach to practice was my game day for my first couple of years. And so if, what could I do today to make our team better and be competitive? And I think that was something that really paid off with this coaching staff.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you have an event like what we had today, and you go back and you get so caught up in what we're doing now and what's happening now. But then when you have something like that, then it forces you to go back and really think about how far we have come. Do you ever think about that and just, it just is, when we heard Jenna Rogers today joking about she met a former athlete and said, I was part of the first team, and she said, you're still alive? She just didn't know that sports weren't always a thing, and I think that's the luxury of this generation, that they didn't know some of the restrictions. But is that ever something that you reflect on, how far we've come?
It actually is. It is. And I think it's easier when you're an alum of the program and you've seen, I thought Nebraska obviously was the pinnacle of the pinnacle when I played here, and then to come back and watch how it's just incredibly, just continued to find ways to grow and the support. But we've had a couple of things over the last couple of years with the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and then the 50th. This is the 50th year of women's sports at the University of Nebraska. And I think those kind of big benchmarks really make you kind of take a step back and think about that, and just, really appreciate the milestones, the things that have happened, the people that have paved the way to have it where it is now. And I think, for me, one of the highlights was volleyball day at Nebraska and 92,000 people, setting a world record right here on our campus for a women's sporting event, and just what that meant, not just for their program, but for our entire athletic department and for every female that's ever been a part of sports, and being able to watch the way things have grown to an event like that is pretty unique and special.
This is a question for the panel that coaches got asked. Was there a moment that you can recall that you really remember, okay, things are changing, this sport is really changing a trajectory here? There's a monumental moment in women's basketball. Do you recall that?
God, it's such a great question. I really enjoyed listening to the people on your panel today answer that question, Jessica. And for me, it's really hard to kind of just pinpoint like one moment for me. But I think that in our sport, there's been really intense growth. But I think one of the highlights would be just this January when the NCAA, and we've finally been approved to do unit sharing in the sport of women's basketball, and that's just a monumental mark. It's something that I think really illustrates and highlights just how people are appreciating and valuing the entertainment that women's basketball provides, and now that'll be financially kind of backed up with that new news in January. So I think pretty special moment at the NCAA National Convention for them to vote on that and accept that and for our sport to be able to recognize that is pretty cool.
For people that don't know what you're referring to, can you explain that to us? It's basically the NCAA tournament. Now, women's basketball, they're going to get share of the revenue that it brings in, right?
Right, correct, yes. And so the Big Ten Conference, for every Big Ten women's basketball team that ends up making the NCAA tournament. This is something that's been happening in men's basketball since maybe 1991, I think. And this upcoming NCAA tournament will be the first time that those monies that are generated from TV and things will be shared back to the conferences and eventually the universities for women's basketball participation in the NCAA tournament.
Which is just crazy that it's just now happening, being that we've seen the record-breaking numbers on television for years and years, and just the amount of eyeballs and people showing up and the sellout arenas. It's crazy that we're just now there, but kudos that they got it done.
Yeah, I think that there's been a lot of coaches that have been working on this for a long time before I've ever stepped into a head coaching role. And so I'm just so grateful to all of those pioneering women's basketball coaches that have fought so hard to get to this point. But I think it's those record-breaking crowds and, being at that Big Ten tournament last year and playing in the championship game and having, just red carpet and tunnels and, just the sold out crowds for a Big Ten women's basketball tournament. Those are the types of things that have really opened people's eyes to what these coaches have been fighting for years.
And the program should be rewarded for that. I mean, they're the ones that have built that, the product, that's being done, or kudos to the teams. One final thing I wanted to ask you about today, another basketball player that was involved in the program today was Callan Hake, and she's become a fan favorite. I get asked about her all the time, just some of the hustle plays she makes. But she's also the SAC president. How impressive is that, and what all she's handling with basketball, and then just being the leader of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee?
Yeah, I mean, she's just a really special young lady. And I mean, we knew that in the recruiting process when we first started recruiting her, but the way we've seen her just, continue to just blossom. I mean, I'm just so excited. We talk about it all the time as a coaching staff that she is a young lady that is probably going to be, successful in multiple adventures at the same time, because we're watching her do that very thing right now. She's obviously a great teammate and a great leader on the basketball court for us, but really flourishing in the School of Business on the campus here of the University of Nebraska, and very actively involved in the Strength Builders program that they have within the School of Business. And then being the Student Athlete Advisory Committee president, that comes with a lot of responsibility, but, she just handles it all so seamlessly and just with a smile on her face. And, you can just see just the faith that she has just beaming out of her, and the way she shares that with everyone around her. She's just a very, very unique and special young lady.
She's one of those student athletes that, there's a few athletes that just really stand out, that she is so well respected by people across this athletics department, athletes from all sports.
I agree with that. And I think it's because she takes the time to invest. And, I knew right away when she was a freshman, and I heard her stop and have a conversation with one of the security guards that works over at the Hendricks training complex, and she was asking about how his wife was and calling her by first name, and just, the way that she invests in learning about people and what's important to them and finding ways to connect to others, I think is the reason why she's such a, fan favorite. She's such a, student athlete favorite. She's, a favorite on our coaching staff and team. She just, she does things the right way.
Great stuff. All right, let's get to a break. We got one final segment left here with Amy Williams, and then we're going to hear from Brenda VanLengen. The Nebraska Women's Basketball Coaches Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, where people don't have your money has people.
Central Valley Ag is excited to introduce CVA Power Flock Layer Feed, the feed that works as hard as your hens. Boost your flock's performance with increased egg mass, a longer productive lifespan, and more sellable eggs. For a limited time, get a free feed scoop with your first purchase of 100 pounds of CVA Power Flock. Visit CVAcoop.com to learn more. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store, because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hey America, Cellathon means big savings. Cellathon means great selection. Cellathon means the time is now. Visit your Midwest Ford dealers through President's Day to get $2,000 President's Day cash on top of current incentives on our most popular Ford SUVs. It's Cellathon time, but hurry, these offers end February 17th. Get $5,750 total cash on a 2024 Escape during the President's Day Cellathon. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Husker fans, if you're looking for a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding and provides flexibility, your local insurance agency is hiring. No matter your skills or interests, there are opportunities for you in the insurance industry. Explore the many ways you can use your skills to protect your community by checking out the IIAN job board. Find your calling and be a part of an industry that makes a difference. Go to iian.org/careers today.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Contact 811 2 days before you dig to protect your underground utilities and yourself. It's free, it's easy, it's the law. Got a couple minutes left here with the head coach, Amy Williams, on our Nebraska Women's Basketball Show. We got a text on the text line from Roger. Said, I would go back to Ann Myers getting a shot at a roster spot for the Indiana Pacers. Was viewed as a novelty or a publicity stunt in some circles. Just a thought. Keep up the great work, Coach Williams. So going back to our monumental moments in the sport.
That was a really good one to bring up. So I appreciate that text because, yeah, that's pretty special when people, women, were able to start getting those opportunities.
All right, just a couple minutes left with you. At Maryland, tough matchup going to Maryland, ranked top 20 in the country once again. Tell us about this matchup and what does your team need to do to maybe go up there and compete and get a win at Maryland?
Yeah, well, I think, we need to get back to kind of our identity. And, we spent a lot of time talking about that today as a group and as a team. And we know right now Maryland is 7th in the country in offensive rebounding. So, our ability to get a little bit tougher and more physical on the boards and take care of that will be important. But really just getting back to moving the basketball, moving bodies, having a little more movement on the offensive side and playing more like Husker basketball.
Always a tough place to play for anybody that goes to Maryland. How important is getting off to a good start there?
Yeah, I mean, we need to kind of burst through the door and say we're here. I mean, we need to get off to a great start. We always need to get off to a great start, but when you're on the road, I think really important not to dig yourself a hole and for us to go in there and compete from the jump and put together a 40 minutes.
Great stuff. Thanks for being here. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thanks, Jess.
And that is head coach Amy Williams here on our Nebraska Women's Basketball Show. Dorothy Lynch, homestyle and light and lean dressing, endless flavorabilities. Up next, we're going to hear from Brenda VanLengen, who was a coach here actually when Amy was a player here. She won a really prestigious award today, the Barbara Hebner Trailblazer Award. I got a chance to chat with her, and lots of great perspective from Brenda. Keep it here.
Central Valley Ag is excited to introduce CVA Power Flock Layer Feed, the feed that works as hard as your hens. Boost your flock's performance with increased egg mass, a longer productive lifespan, and more sellable eggs. For a limited time, get a free feed scoop with your first purchase of 100 pounds of CVA Power Flock. Visit CVAcoop.com to learn more. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Husker fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect that water is the reason parts of your concrete have gotten so uneven. Walkway tripping hazards, sinking pool deck, cracked driveways are dangerous threats to everyone's safety. But there's one way to learn how your concrete can be lifted. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293. Hey America, Cellathon means big savings. Cellathon means great selection. Cellathon means the time is now. Visit your Midwest Ford dealers through President's Day to get $2,000 President's Day cash on top of current incentives on our most popular Ford SUVs. It's Cellathon time, but hurry, these offers end February 17th. Get $5,750 total cash on a 2024 Escape during the President's Day Cellathon. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Husker Extra is the best website and mobile app for everything Husker sports. From the experts at the Omaha World Herald and Lincoln Journal-Star, go to huskerextra.com or search your app store today. Welcome back. Final segment here of our Nebraska women's basketball show. Jessica Coody here with you. And I got a chance today to chat with Brenda VanLengen. She was on the coaching staff here back in the 90s, but she has been a voice in women's college basketball broadcast for 30 years. She's in her 30th season. She was actually on the call for the game against Iowa, and she's all over the place. She's in the SEC, ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, and just has been a really important voice for women's basketball along the way. She's putting together a docuseries that is highlighting the women that paved the way to where women's basketball is today. But every year, the University of Nebraska gives out the Barbara Hibner Trailblazer Award, and this year, Brenda VanLengen won that award. She was here today to receive that award, and I got a chance to chat with her this morning. Here with Brenda VanLengen, this year's winner of the Barbara Hibner Trailblazer Award. Welcome back to Nebraska. You have a lot of accolades and awards and honors. What does this one mean to you?
Wow. You know, it's such an honor to be back here in Lincoln, in the Bob Devaney Center where I worked in the early 90s. And, you know, Dr. Hibner was such a trailblazer, and she worked here. She was the senior women administrator when I was here coaching and was a great mentor. But what I didn't know was all the things she was doing behind the scenes to battle and make sure that women had opportunities. And so to to have an honor in her memory and her honor means so much to me.
You know, back when you were here as a staff and now you get to come back as a broadcaster, what do you take away of just the emphasis that Nebraska puts on women's sports, their women's basketball, but just the way that they highlight their women's athletics programs?
Well, it's cliche, but there is no place like Nebraska, right? I mean, it's been building for a lot of years. The support in the community, the support in the athletic department. It's just fantastic to see how it's so supported across all women's sports, and it's so important. You know, I was a big part of basketball. Basketball's always been important to me, but I love the emphasis, of course, on volleyball and softball and all the other sports here because these women are so deserving, and it's just so incredible to see the strides that have been made and what we're celebrating in women's sports right now.
Obviously, this award goes to somebody who invests and is an advocate for women's sports. Why has it been so important for you to be such a voice for women's basketball?
You know, I played at Kearney State College, that is now the University of Nebraska-Kearney, and we'd go to the game to play and pour our hearts out and do what we were passionate about, and there were like maybe 100 people in the stands, and it always created a burn in me, like, we work as hard as the guys, and where are the people and where are the investments? And so it just created this passion in me from a young age that I wanted to make sure things were different for those that came after me. When I coached here at the University of Nebraska, I did all I could to, increase our attendance and increase the investment in the community, and made some good strides in that area. And then as a broadcaster over the last 30 years, it's my life mission to draw people to women's sports, to make sure that they understand these incredible stories of these women that work so hard to be the best at their sport, and to provide enjoyment for other people, but provide role models, and just so much to celebrate. And I'm just so glad that I've been courtside to call games and to tell those stories over the years, and then to see where we are now in women's sports. It gives me a lot of pride.
That's great. So you were on the staff when Amy Williams was playing here. How special is it to see her as a leader of Nebraska women's basketball, and what can you say about the job that she's doing leading this program?
Well, I have known Amy since she walked onto this court here at the Bob Devaney Sports Center as a walk-on, and as part of the staff, we said, there's no way that we can't keep her on the team. She's working harder than every scholarship athlete that we have, and she made our teams better just stepping in that position. And that's the way she's lived her life. She has outworked people. She has used her incredible personality and her passion for the game and for just the women around her to be better. And in the leadership role that she is at Nebraska, it's about so much more than just the basketball court. She's a phenomenal coach and leader of women, but she makes sure that those women have incredible opportunities and opportunities to advance their lives and to be prepared for a really successful life. So all those things. I mean, I'm a big Amy Williams fan and have been for a long time, and she's an incredible person, mom, leader, coach, all those things.
So you have Amy, Rhonda Revelle, I know you're a big fan of, as we all are. You have Heather Brink and now Danny Busboom-Kelly. You have 4 women that played here that were, part of programs here. How special is that in where we are in college athletics?
That is so incredible. I absolutely love that. And, you don't have to coach at your alma mater to be passionate about it, but it's so special that they all have, because there is a special place in their heart for Nebraska, and they understand the community, they understand the state, they understand everything about it. And they want to make sure, as we go to the future, that the future opportunities continue to be there and are advanced and things like that. And I'm so proud of what University of Nebraska is doing related to those sports and those women, and really excited for the future.
All right, last thing, just I guess, can you give us a little bit of a preview of what's to come in Big Ten women's basketball? I mean, it is a competitive conference.
Wow. I mean, it's so exciting. And every night is a grind, and adding UCLA and USC and what they have done to elevate Big Ten women's basketball even more. I mean, it's been fantastic, but even more. And then all the other teams that are right in there, and Nebraska is in that group, that there are going to be so many teams that make it to the NCAA tournament and have opportunities to advance. But the Big Ten tournament itself is going to be crazy. I mean, game after game, I imagine buzzer beaters, I imagine all sorts of drama down the stretch. It's going to be so much fun to keep an eye on, and just I'm really interested to see how it all plays out.
Okay, just got one more for you that you made me think of. So Britt Prince, obviously an outstanding freshman here at Nebraska, but there's great freshmen across this league. What does that say just about the growth of women's basketball, that you're now seeing these stars coming in as freshmen? I mean, it's got to point to just, again, the growth, that there's an investment in these sports.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, there are more opportunities than ever for girls as they're growing up, whether it's club sports or high school sports, resources that are available to them. And so they've been able to take advantage of those situations and be more ready when it comes time to play in college. And, you know, Britt Prince is such a talent. There are so many talented freshmen. You know, they've been inspired by those that have come before, whether it be WNBA players or players that have shown in college athletics. So they only know a world where we sell out Memorial Stadium for a volleyball game, right? They only know a world where the Women's Final Four National Championship drew 19 million viewers last year. That's the world they know, and now they have the opportunity to build on that and advance and launch into the future for even more opportunities, more greatness, more special opportunities for the girls and women in the future.
I love that. What excites you the most about Britt Prince's game?
You know, she is so skilled and athletic and has such a mindset of creating and can do so much with the basketball. You know, as she gets stronger, as she matures and gets used to the level of competition at the Big Ten, she's just going to continue to get better and better, but she's fun to watch. She's just exciting and can shoot the ball and all the things that we love about basketball.
Great stuff. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Loved chatting and catching up with Brenda VanLengen. Fun fact, I actually worked with her my very first opportunity calling play-by-play. She was the analyst at Oklahoma, and you know, when I took the job here at Nebraska, she said, "You are going to absolutely love it," and she was spot on. You know, just we talked a lot about just the support for all the women's sports here, and she knew how much that meant to me, how passionate I am about that, and she said, you're going to love it there. So she was right. A couple games coming up on the road, tough ones for Amy Williams' group at Maryland, as we talked about, number 17 in this week's poll. 5:30 tip-off there. Matt Coatney, Jeff Grease will be on the call for starting with the pregame show at 5 o'clock. Sunday at Illinois, 4 o'clock tip there, and Illinois just outside the top 25, so a couple of back-to-back tough road matchups there for the Huskers, but hopefully they can pick up one of those on the road before heading back home to Pinnacle Bank Arena. As I was looking at the schedule, hard to believe just 2 more games to watch Alexis Markowski and the senior class inside Pinnacle Bank Arena, so Huskers.com/tickets. All right, that's going to do it for hour number 1. We've got a whole nother hour of Sports Nightly just ahead. Nick Hanley will join me for hour number 2. Keep it here.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Husker fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued, on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts at Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall.
Good evening, I'm Duke Root, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. The Nebraska football team officially announced the hiring of veteran college assistant coach and Nebraska native Mike Eckler. He's been named the Huskers special teams coordinator. Eckler brings an impressive coaching background to the Husker staff after spending the past 4 seasons at Tennessee, serving as their special teams coordinator and outside linebackers coach. The Nebraska baseball season begins this weekend, and head coach Will Bolt announced the starting rotation for the first 4 games. Mason McConaughey will get the first start of the season Friday versus UC Irvine. Ty Horn will start Saturday versus Vanderbilt, followed by Will Walsh Sunday and Jackson Brockett on Monday. Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore has been hired by the New Orleans Saints to become their new head coach. Moore is coming off a productive Super Bowl winning offense and is looking to bring that same success to New Orleans. Huge slate in men's top 25 college basketball tonight, including top-ranked Auburn leading Vanderbilt 34-32, number 22 Mississippi State leading number 3 Florida 34-33, number 5 Tennessee trailing number 15 Kentucky 35-26, number 20 Michigan trailing number 7 Purdue 37-35, and later tonight Kansas State is hosting number 13 Arizona, and number 24 Creighton is taking on UConn in Omaha. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Coming up next is Hour 2 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Brings it across the timeline, right side. One arms the pass to Williams, attacks the goal all the way in, puts it up and in. Unbelievable, All-American play. Bryce Williams, the last 4 points. He's got an and 1, and Nebraska's up by 6.
Rimdahl deep on the left side. Gary's had a good first half with 11 points. He's going to dribble away from Stremlow. Drives down the lane, puts her big girl pants on, and it counts! And a foul! Bernie Rimdahl saving the Huskers, banking her today.
1-0 the count. Pickens brings it in. Jordy swings and drives it. Left field and deep. Touch going back to the wall. It's good! It's good! It's good! Jordy Ball! 2-run home run! A 5-run explosion for the Cornhuskers! They lead 5-1 in the 5th.
Now, here is your host, Jessica Coody, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome in, hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. Appreciate Amy Williams joining us there in hour number 1. Got a couple big matchups for Nebraska women's basketball here over the next few days. We welcome back Nick Hanley here on the program. It's been, what, a week since we've talked. Nick, how you doing?
I know, you guys gave me like the easiest week last week. We had all these coaches shows, basketball games going on, and then we get the Ball Bat Sports started on Friday. It was kind of a nice little cush week there.
Yeah, we gave you the boot for our women's show on Wednesday too, but it's opening week. Are you ready?
Yeah, I was telling you during the break, I'm through my UCI prep. I just got done with Vanderbilt today. Got a sick kid at home, so that's kind of
not good.
Yeah, that's run a little interference on the prep, but we'll get San Diego State done tomorrow, and then Grand Canyon, of course. Maybe that'll be on the plane there. But we got Thursday. I think we're going to take in some basketball when we get to Arizona. Watch the Huskers play Thursday night, and then it's crazy that it's already here, and you're starting to already hearing about Major League Baseball and pitchers and catchers reporting as well. And this first weekend of college baseball always seems to coincide with pitchers and catchers reporting. So not just for college baseball fans, but just for baseball fans alike. I mean, it's here. It's happening. As we're about to get dumped on with snow, there are warmer and much better days ahead.
So Coach Bolt and a couple of the players met with the media today to preview the season. Nick actually is going to sit down with Coach Bolt on the program tomorrow, dive into all kinds of things to preview the season. So we'll bring that for you tomorrow, talk much more baseball in the season opening weekend. Speaking of the snow, okay, so this is a debate that my parents were up here over the weekend. They went to Danny Busboom Kelly's welcome event and then the women's game. And anyways, we were talking about the snow coming in, and my mom they're weenies now because they just, it took me a while to get adjusted to it too, but she has to get on all the layers to go outside with my dog. And she said, said something about her toboggan. And that's one thing I've learned here. I was like, I don't think you can call it a toboggan here, right? What do you call the hat that you wear on top of your head to keep warm?
I see, and I don't know if this is a male thing as opposed to a female thing, but I always called it my beanie. But then my parents said a beanie back then was, remember the little hats that had the propellers on the top? I guess they called those beanies when they were growing up, and now my parents my dad turned 80 this last summer. My mom is closing in there as well. So I think it's a generational thing, but I call them beanies, or I just call them a stocking cap. But I've heard toboggan before.
But a toboggan is a sled, I've been told.
Yes,
so
yes.
I told Mom, I'm like, you're showing your southern roots when you call it a toboggan up here. So I had to learn that my first couple of years here, because I think I called it a toboggan too, but now I call it a beanie. But they did not know that they were using the wrong verbiage on those hats. But
so people thought they were wearing sleds on their head?
But we're going to need them because the snow is coming. So I'm going to have to relearn how to drive in this tomorrow and get up to PBA. We got some interviews lined up. Speaking of that, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. There's so much to talk about, but I feel like I want to start with men's basketball, 4 in a row. And man, you think about the conversation we were having and the people that were pushing the panic button during, I know it was a tough stretch, but now look at how this team is playing, and now have won 4 in a row. And that was one of the games that we had talked about that they needed to win with the quad 1 wins and building the resume. That Ohio State win was a big one for this team. And when they're playing how they can play, they can match up with just about anybody.
Well, and Jessica, isn't it the same thing that we've talked about after a victory? It's that similar formula where it's not the prettiest thing in the world. It's not like they're shooting lights out. Although the Washington game, that was something. They kept pace with what was a red-hot shooting effort by Washington in the first half. So that was a little bit more of a pleasant offensive game from Nebraska. They were steady, above 50% the entire way, which was great to see. But that Ohio State game was a little bit more of that typical Nebraska just rolling up the sleeves and getting really tough. And that was the one thing that Fred was essentially calling the team out, is not necessarily effort or lack of effort, but those toughness plays, those 50-50 plays that they were falling short of. Gosh, they really got after it against Ohio State. Ohio State came at them a few times there in the first half where you get the foul issues, whether some of those calls were on the level or not. I don't know, it's for a different conversation. But all of a sudden, like we've expected now, Bryce Williams just taking over at the end of the first half. Juwan Gary's contributions were huge. So you get those two, especially Bryce's just moments where he takes over the game and is proven to be one of the best players, not only in the Big Ten, but in college basketball right now, too. Juwan Gary has that really solid complementary piece. It was impressive to watch. And then watching Andrew Morgan just all over the floor, doing so many little things to, again, spark this team. And it just seems like they feed off of that so well. So the defensive effort was really good. I just like the fact that they kept their composure, especially there in the first half when Ohio State got on them early, and then keeping their composure when you've got 2 or 3 guys there at the end of the first half that are in foul trouble. There was a lot to like about that game. Of course, at the end of the game, that's the biggest concern right now, especially the way that Berke Bieptengel played in that game, but more importantly, the way he's been playing lately. If he's out for an extended period of time, especially with that matchup Thursday night with that big Maryland team, we know he's going to be out for that game. But if he's out for an extended period of time, they're going to have to find something else, too. They're just going to have to find another answer, which at this point, I don't know about you. I trust this team to be able to find that answer.
Yeah, and Coach Hoiberg was on with us last night for a short show before women's basketball, and he brought that up. You know, that just he's starting to play his best basketball, and just his ability to do a lot of different things. He was shooting the ball the best he has in practice, and you mentioned it, the big matchup on Thursday. So unfortunate loss. Hopefully they can get him going. He's going through treatment, I know, so hopefully it's not an extended period, but they're going to have to figure it out on Thursday. But Coach Hoiberg was really complimentary of Braxton Mia and some of the minutes that he's played here as of late, so he's going to have to step up. Andrew Morgan's probably going to have to take on a bigger load. He said they might move to more of a smaller lineup. Aaron Eulis played really well against Maryland the first time around, so they're going to have to adjust for sure, but that's a loss that hopefully is not going to linger long for this team, as they still have some work to do to solidify themselves in that NCAA tournament field. So you need Berkey hopefully back sooner rather than later.
And you never want to see this happen, especially as Fred talked about, a guy that was hitting his stride the way that Berkey is. But, and this is where you can never count any game as a W or, okay, well, this is, but if there's a time in the schedule where you've got to have some other, maybe less contributors from the previous part of the season have to step up and increase their role, to me, this would be that time. Now, Thursday, Maryland's tough, and Maryland's got that front court that is going to be extremely demanding when it comes to how you're going to defend them. But then you start looking ahead to Northwestern and Penn State. Those are games where Nebraska, I think, can figure it out. I think that they can have contributions from other guys. There could be some different combinations, whether they want to go small or bigger, that I think that they can still get by. If they can somehow pull this off without Berkey on Thursday, that would be so impressive. But if they don't, and I'm not trying to put in a built-in excuse, but if they don't, you still have a little backstop there with those upcoming games that even if Berkey doesn't return to the lineup, and I have a tough time believing that he would be back at all this week in these two games, that there's still some opportunities for Nebraska, even a little bit shorthanded, that they can get a favorable matchup.
What a stretch for Bryce Williams. He's been unbelievable, really taking over games that, I think a lot of people were asking him to do. Coach Hoiberg talked about they've changed some things up, not since he has to carry such a heavy load on the offensive end. They've tweaked some of his responsibilities on the defensive end. But we've gotten a few texts about this. Where, in your mind, does he stand in the Player of the Year conversation in the Big Ten? Because he's right there among the scoring leaders, which a lot of times that's one of the biggest factors.
Well, and we saw the Naismith list come out, the Wooden Award list come out. He was not on that, but I'm looking at two guys from Rutgers, and they're special players. But I think Bryce maybe doesn't get the same type of hype or maybe the same type of attention, because a lot of those awards are also attached to perennial powers, or if your numbers are just staggering. Bryce, in my opinion, has put himself in the all Big Ten first team conversation. So if you're in that conference and you're a first teamer, in the way that I think the context of when Bryce has been getting his offense and getting his points is also really important in this conversation, because we were just talking about the Ohio State game, where you've got a good chunk of your scoring that's on the bench in the first half because of foul trouble. If they don't have Bryce Williams, Jessica, that's probably a blowout at halftime. That's probably at least a 15-point deficit at halftime, what he's able to do. So it's not only what he's averaging a night, but it's when he takes over. In those games where Nebraska's been able to close out opponents, a lot of that's been because of Bryce.
Think about the Illinois win in overtime. I mean, he took over.
Oh, yeah. He was the only player for Nebraska that scored. So it's just I wonder if it has a lot to do with he doesn't get as much attention because of the uniform that he's wearing, because Nebraska's not known as a blue blood when it comes to basketball or perennial power. He's not putting up 30 or 35 a night. If you're going to buck that trend of, well, if it's not a blue blood or perennial power, you've got to be putting up just unbelievable numbers. But I think what his value is for Nebraska, and the fact that he is considered to be amongst the best, and several Big Ten coaches now that have played Nebraska have said the same thing, that Bryce Williams was the best player on the floor that night. And we're talking about Illinois. We're talking about Ohio State. Oregon, yes. We're talking about some really good teams, and they're saying the same thing. So I think that if it comes down to it, you're looking at a first-team Big Ten-type player, to me, that also should be consideration for one of the best players in college basketball because he sure is playing like it.
Yeah, and I'm not taking anything away from the Rutgers guys, but also, they're getting a lot of hype because they're going to be lottery picks, whatever. But, you know, I think you have to take into consideration, remove the jersey part of it, as you just said. And if he continues on the stretch, I think it's going to be hard for people to deny him. Certainly first team, but I think he's done enough at this point. He should be in that conversation.
I think so, too. And I think this is a great opportunity for him as you get to that point of the season where a lot more eyes are on some of these races in the power conferences. And the Big Ten is always going to garner a lot of attention. So I think there's always going to be that part of, okay, in some of these bigger games, Big Ten tournament as well, how does players like Bryce Williams play? I think you could say the same thing for, we're talking about, a Dylan Harper from Rutgers. Does he get boxed in the Big Ten tournament? Does that take away a little bit of his stock? So there's a lot that more than anything, beside the conversation of the consideration for one of the best players in college basketball, wasn't this what we needed Bryce Williams to be if Nebraska was going to have a solid season? And he's fulfilled that. Like, to me, everyone knew he was going to get the basketball. Everyone knew he was going to be Nebraska's guy, and he's still putting up that type of offensive output. To me, that is huge, and to me, that speaks volumes of the type of player he is in the country. Yeah, and I think he wasn't as much of that guy during that stretch that they were losing some of those games, and then now he's gotten back to that. And, I mean, he's just – I don't know how you guard him. I don't know when you're going through the scout and trying to figure out what you're going to do to stop him, because he can score – at will on all three levels. He's so good at getting to the rim. He can pull up at the mid-range, and he can knock down a three-pointer at a very efficient rate. And, oh, by the way, he is one of the best free throw shooters in the entire country, and he is so good at getting himself to the line when other things aren't going. I don't know how you stop him. That's a great point about what he can do at the free throw line, too. And that was huge in that Ohio State game. And I know as we're getting close to baseball season, they always talk about the most valuable players are usually those five-tool players. I mean, he's basketball's version of a five-tool player because he can shoot from distance, he can get to the rim, he can defend, he's got the ability to rebound, and he's got the ability to be a lockdown defender. So there's all of those different facets to his game. You bring up a really interesting point, though, when you're talking about Ace Bailey and Harper from Rutgers, because I totally agree with you. I think if there is also a little bit of draft stock next to your name, and you're looked at as someone that's going to be either a lottery pick or going to go very high in the first round, I do wonder, though, and this is something to keep an eye on as well, what type of conversations professionally are being had about Bryce Williams? Because
apparently a lot. Apparently scouts are really paying it, or he's getting quite a bit of attention according to the coaching staff that we've heard over the last couple of months. So I think he's improving his stock this year, which is what he needed to do.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine that he wouldn't be talked about for a lot of the reasons we're talking about of the different facets of his game. I mean, he can hurt you in a variety of ways offensively, and he's also a really good defender. So if that's not someone that's going to be either one of those under-the-radar type guys at the pro level or someone that is either not making it in the first two rounds but is going to be one of those free agency pickups, and we're going to see him work his way through the G League and at the pro level. What he's doing this year is getting a lot of attention. It should get a lot of attention.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to our first break here of hour number 2. 402-413-2400 is that number if you want to be a part of the conversation with a text or a phone call on our Sports Nightly hotline presented by Woodhouse. Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
Life is busy. Wouldn't it be great if someone could help you manage your insurance?
Well, I do have a lot to keep on top of. Between the house, my life insurance, the car. Like you said, life is busy.
A local trusted choice independent insurance agent can help you with your research, coverage selection, pricing, and claims at no extra cost to you.
Which means I'll have more time to spend on other things.
Trusted choice independent insurance agents. We'll help do your insurance. You just do you.
Hey America, Sellathon means big savings. Sellathon means great selection. Sellathon means the time is now. Visit your Midwest Ford dealers through President's Day to get $2,000 President's Day cash on top of current incentives on our most popular Ford SUVs. It's Sellathon time, but hurry, these offers end February 17th. Get $5,750 total cash on a 2024 Escape during the President's Day Sellathon. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Hey America, Sellathon means big savings. Sellathon means great selection. Sellathon means the time is now. Visit your Midwest Ford dealers through President's Day to get $2,000 President's Day cash on top of current incentives on our most popular Ford SUVs. It's Sellathon time, but hurry, these offers end February 17th. Get $5,750 total cash on a 2024 Escape during the President's Day Sellathon. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts at Sap Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sap Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sap Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall.
Want to boost Nebraska's economy and help the planet? It's as easy as filling up your tank. Switch to soy-based biodiesel to cut greenhouse gases by up to 74% and support biodiesel growth.
I'm Greg Anderson, a farmer near Newman Grove, Nebraska, and biodiesel has transformed our farm. It cuts emissions, raises the cetane number, and improves fuel lubricity.
So ask for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, economy, and Nebraska soybean farmers. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Welcome back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, which is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Nick Hanley, Jessica Coody here with you on the Sports Nightly Tuesday night edition. Well, I guess let's get into it. The Super Bowl. What a terrible game. It was not even fun to watch.
I mean, if you're an Eagles fan, it was probably very fun to watch.
Yeah, I like competitive games, but congratulations to Cam Jurgens winning a Super Bowl. Happy for him. I sported my Eagles shirt. I was all in on the Eagles. Just because I wanted the Eagles to win didn't mean I wanted them to blow out the Chiefs, though.
I'm with you. I wanted a competitive game. I was doing a little Super Bowl roundtable with 3 former pros that know way more about the game than I'll ever know. And they all took the Chiefs, and I took the Eagles. So, I mean, that's a W for me. But, yeah, I'm with you. I wanted to see it, and I thought it would. I thought it would be very similar to the way the game played out 2 years ago. And my bold prediction was it wouldn't be Patrick Mahomes. It'd be Jalen Hurts that would have the last drive, and they would finish in the end zone to win the game. That thing was over by halftime. And the pick six to Cooper DeJean, and then the subsequent interception that Patrick Mahomes throws right before halftime, where you're thinking, okay, if the Chiefs, and even then you're thinking, all right, 28-3, New England, Atlanta, the Chiefs have every bit of that, but the way Philadelphia plays, you knew it was going to be really tough to dig out of a hole like that. I was stunned that it got so lopsided, and it exposed what has really been a problem for the Chiefs this year, and that's that offensive line. But I believe I told you the same thing, too, when we were talking about the Super Bowl matchup, that this was probably the best team the Chiefs had played during their Super Bowl run. And that's even, that includes the Eagles team 2 years ago and those 49ers teams that they had beat. And I even think to some extent that Tampa Bay team that actually beat Kansas City. Philadelphia came in since that Week 5 bye. They were 15-1, and they very well could have won that game that they lost. They were banged up. So, I mean, there was a lot of things about this Eagles team that I don't think got enough credit. And I tweeted this out during the game. With the amount of characters that we were talking about that could have major roles in this game, we did not talk enough about Vic Fangio, who is still, in my opinion, still an elite defensive coordinator. Well, we're going to have, sounds like another Husker in the NFL, at least one, going in this draft class. I am hearing, I talked to Jeremiah Searles, which we're going to record a podcast coming up, hopefully tomorrow, barring any weather delays or anything derailing us. But he said that Ty Robinson was really, really impressive over the Senior Bowl practices, and that his stock continues to rise. And that he's such a freak athlete. He's going to test really, really well. And he told me, I don't think the draft or the combine invites are not officially out, but he told me that he was going to be going, and I think it's pretty much a no-brainer that he's going, but he's going to, I think, wow, and some of these measurables that they like to really get caught up on for these scouts. When you look at him, and for people maybe getting their first eyes on him, to just look at the overall mass of that individual, the size, but then how quick he is off the ball, that initial explosion off the ball too. There's a lot of it that you've watched enough NFL, I've watched enough NFL, that you see those types of guys really flourish, and they are highly valuable. And when I say valuable, I'm talking about draft grades. I'm talking about being able to make a lot of money on that initial contract because of what they can do and the efforts to stop the running game. And what Ty Robinson has developed himself into, and so much credit to Terrence Knight and so much credit to Tony White, as well as Matt Rule, for putting him not only in a position to have that type of development, but also putting guys around him that were going to allow him to get some one-on-one battles, allow him to experience that success, and to have that confidence as he was making those gains physically. So there's a lot about just his rise. But first and foremost, I think I can only imagine when people laid eyes on him for the first time, they're thinking, okay, that's a really large individual. He's a big dude. But then you see him move, and you're thinking, okay, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to get to know him and talk with him over the years. And, I actually chatted with Garrett Nelson at one of the last home games, and he just is like a proud father talking about Ty Robinson, but just said that he's a guy that for a long time, he wants to be a doctor when he's done playing football. He's just so cerebral that maybe overthought things a little bit, and what's allowed him to really take it to another level these last couple of seasons is kind of unleashing the thinking too much, which, you come in as this highly touted 5-star guy, and it takes a little bit to figure all that out. But it's crazy to think about some of his things that were holding him up wasn't even his physical attributes. It was all upstairs, the mental part of it, and just learning how to let loose and do what he does best.
Well, and remember Casey Rogers when he left for Oregon. And we're all thinking, oh, man, that is a huge loss. And I kind of always linked Ty Robinson and Casey Rogers together of guys that were going to be really big on that defensive line if they could stay healthy. And then I remember the following spring, it was Ty Robinson talking about, hey, we have no depth right now. Like he was wore out because he was having to play every rep. And I mean, his body he was already like a super senior, and the guy was only going into his junior year. So I think that's why I give a lot of credit to the complementary pieces around him and the way that Matt Rule, Terrence Knight, and Tony White constructed that defense, because you can have a guy make improvements individually and learn how to win one-on-one battles and be able to be that effective. But if you don't have, first of all, the way that they play these guys, which I always liked, that it wasn't necessarily the quantity of reps, but it was the quality of reps when we're talking about games, that these guys are playing in the fourth quarter extremely fresh because they're able to get some spells throughout the game, but they could only do that if you had quality defensive linemen to spell them. And so I just think the way they constructed this, they really did put Ty Robinson, in my opinion, in a really, really good area, good place, and it gave him the best chance to succeed. Ty Robinson, individually, what he did goes without saying. And you just said it. I mean, that guy's one of the hardest working guys, and there's a reason that he was one of the leaders and one of the captains of this team because of what he would do, leading by example. But that could have been all well and good, but it could have also been for naught if they don't complement him with guys around him and give him that ability to where he is at his best in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that D-line was like a hockey line change a lot of times at games. What's going to be fascinating is Nash Hutmacher, because here's another guy that's probably going to test really well, but I think scouts still trying to figure out how he fits and what his role could be on an NFL D-line.
And the same thing I said about Ty is the size of Nash you're going to see, and you're going to be blown away by that. And this is another area where I think it really did behoove Nash to have last year of wrestling, because of when you have the hand-to-hand combat and you have the ability to not only use your body and be able to pull guys one way or the other, but just having those quick hands to be able to get into a hold. All those little things that are definitely going to help you at the next level, are definitely going to help you in your game. So I'm curious to see, because it always felt like Nash was maybe always a year behind because of when he really started getting the game reps. I mean, it was really Matt Rule's first years when we saw the most of Nash Hutmacher, and he was pretty darn good. This year, there was a little bit more attention, but his impact was still very much there. So he didn't have maybe the same type of season he had the previous year when it came to total numbers and TFLs and everything like that. But he was also getting a lot more attention. When you test individually, this is where I think a lot of that year 1 to year 2 Nash goes out the window. And as you pointed out, Jessica, the individual testing, I think, is also going to help him move up maybe more than what he is currently graded at, because right now he's probably, in the low 5s?
Yeah, I think so.
Right around there. I still wouldn't be shocked if he's a guy that could make himself early 4th, maybe even at the back end of the 3rd. Again, going back to how he tests at the combine, assuming he gets a combine invite, I would think it'd be crazy if he didn't. And then also the pro day and how he tests out there.
And you know what? This conversation, having these guys that get drafted, hear the name call, huge for recruiting. This is part of the building and putting guys at that next level. Some of that selling points that Coach Rule talks about, being able to develop guys and get them to that next level. But it also means that you've got talented guys, NFL caliber players, which also helps you overall as a better football team. So, the more that we're having these conversations this time every year and having multiple guys that are moving up draft boards and hearing those names called, the better that the state of Nebraska football is.
Yeah, what has Matt Rule said? Their recruiting philosophy, whether it's getting transfers or getting the traditional recruits out of high school, they're looking for NFL guys. And I think there's a lot of coaches that are going to say that. This is where Matt Rule needs the Ty Robinsons, the Nash Hutmakers, and then that next wave of guys that you're starting to see go early in the draft, seeing guys that are going 1st through 3rd as opposed to, you get the occasional 5th or 6th rounder. This is where that has to actually happen, because then you can say, we're seeking out NFL-type players, but we're actually developing into NFL-type players. Because there's NFL players on a lot of different rosters as far as NFL talent, but it's not that talent that is realized to the point that it actually occurs. And I think that's the next step for this personnel, is getting those guys, showing that consistent development that you're getting a handful of guys in the league every year.
All right, good stuff. Let's get to another break. We've got a couple more segments left here. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly rolls on. Keep it here.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
From family road trips in a spacious SUV to heavy-duty hauling in a powerful truck, Woodhouse has the vehicle to fit your lifestyle. Purchasing a vehicle has never been easier thanks to our streamlined buying process. Browse a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles from top brands. View transparent pricing so you can find the vehicle that fits in your budget. And complete your purchase online. Shop when you want, where you want. It's the Woodhouse difference. Get started today at woodhouse.com.
Huskers fans, let's call a timeout on the court and in life. When the game gets tough, Nebraska stands together as a family, as a team. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. You're part of the Husker family, and every member is valued on and off the court. Remember, in times of need, call the timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution
solution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Dear Truckin' Awesome. Want more horsepower in the stable? The Tundra iForce Max is the most powerful Tundra ever. With its electrifying twin-turbo V6, you got everything you need. Saddle up the Tacoma TRD Pro. Its segment-first performance seats are designed to smooth out the shocks when the ride gets bumpy. The Toyota 4Runner is part mean streak, part wild side, and an all-around icon. Check out that signature power rear window, will ya? Yes, sir, Toyota trucks. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Here in Nebraska, we love our teachers. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is teaming up with Husker Athletics to recognize teachers who help students live their best and healthiest lives. Visit huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today to tell us about your favorite Nebraska educator. Winning teachers get a school day visit from Herbie Husker and a VIP experience at the 2025 Husker football spring game, thanks to their biggest fans at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Head to huskers.com/touchdown for teachers today.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. McKinley, Jessica Coody here with you on this freezing cold Tuesday evening, preparing ourselves for the snow that's coming. I don't think I'm ready, but hey, we had talked about this when the reports started coming out, but it's official, the release coming out today that Mike Eckler has officially been hired as a special teams coordinator for Nebraska. I mean, we talked about what he was bringing, but it's official today per the university, and I think he's going to bring a lot to the special teams.
I'm so excited about this hire. I was probably equally as excited that they were able to lock down Dana Holgerson because of what he brings, and I think how special he can be with Dylan. But we know offense, at least with some of the personnel, could get by. Special teams needed to drastically improve. And we mean drastically from a lot of different facets. When we're starting to talk about some of the basic functions, the operation of just the snap and the hold in the kicking game, that's a problem. And then You're out there. You're seeing a lot of what's going on. So I could never sit there and pretend that I know more about the overall buy-in on special teams. I'd like to think Matt Rule harbors a culture of ultimate buy-in at all three phases, but there just looked like there was dysfunction at times with special teams. And I don't necessarily know if it was guys that didn't want to be contributing to special teams, but it was just maybe where they were being placed. Was it a technique thing? Was it the coaches were doing everything and everyone was absorbing what they were supposed to, but for whatever reason, Saturdays it wasn't translating? I don't know. And that's the problem, is I don't even know if the coaching staff could really put their finger on this is exactly the problem and we know how to fix it. And so at that point, you got to bring in somebody that is going to make special teams for everybody on that roster exciting to be a part of. And to me, I think that's a great place to start. That excitement that Mike Eckler, that level of intensity that he brings to a very similar, because he has a defensive background, very similar to how you would get that type of intensity for defense. To see that at the very least for special teams, and hopefully the attention to detail, the technique, all of that will improve. I think this was a no-brainer, slam dunk hire.
Yeah, I mean, they worked on it. You know, it's
sure.
Sometimes it's just maybe getting a different voice in there for these guys and trying to figure out a different way to make them tick to buy into that phase of the game. You know, I did want to mention Ed Foley, still a part of the program, and you know, I think that's important. He's been with Coach Rule for a long time, and he is a great recruiter. Has been big recruiting and locking up the state of Nebraska during the time that they've been here. I mean, a lot of the guys that I talked to on signing day that were from here mentioned Ed Foley. And so that was one of the top priorities when this coaching staff got here, when Matt Rule got here, is that they wanted to protect Nebraska and get the top talent to come here to Nebraska. And Ed Foley is a big part of that. So he'll continue with the recruiting efforts, recruiting the talent here in Nebraska.
Well, and I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, I think he's another set of eyeballs on the offensive line too, because he does have some history overseeing offensive lines before. So I think, again, you're adding resources. And what does that say about Matt Rule as far as guys that are relieved of their duties at certain spots? And we saw it's Marcus Satterfield as well. And sure, money can be part of it. I don't know what Ed Foley is going to ultimately make if he decides to see this whole thing through with Nebraska, but that they still want to be a part of this. I think that says a lot about the head man. I think that says a lot about that you can swallow your pride. You can essentially be demoted, and unless you're making the exact same amount of money you were as the coordinator, obviously that's a no-brainer. Then you're like, hey, I'm making the same amount of money but less responsibility. But I'm assuming at some point that money comes down, but you still want to be a part of that. You still want to be a part of that culture and part of this thing that Matt Rule is building. I think that says a lot about the head man in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to our final break. We're back to wrap up the show coming up after this.
What does it mean to be locally owned and operated? For Cenex, it means everything. It means that we know if you take your coffee to go or if you like to stay a while. It means we've helped Little Leagues get jerseys and local festivals get funding. It means we know what our communities need. So you'll always leave Cenex with a full tank, full of snacks, or full of smiles. Or all of the above. And that means the world to us. Cenex, powered locally.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Hey America, Sellathon means big savings. Sellathon means great selection. Sellathon means the time is now. Visit your Midwest Ford dealers through President's Day to get $2,000 President's Day cash on top of current incentives on our most popular Ford SUVs. It's Sellathon time, but hurry, these offers end February 17th. Get $5,750 total cash on a 2024 Escape during the President's Day Sellathon. Only at your Midwest Ford dealers, driven by value.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Husker fans, if you're looking for a fulfilling career that's financially rewarding and provides flexibility, your local insurance agency is hiring. No matter your skills or interests, there are opportunities for you in the insurance industry. Explore the many ways you can use your skills to protect your community by checking out the IIAN job board. Find your calling and be a part of an industry that makes a difference. Go to iian.org/careers today.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Got a few minutes left here on Sports Nightly. And Nick, I wanted to ask you, we haven't had a chance to chat about it. You came down, got a chance to experience the training table. What did you think of the new digs over there?
Well, first of all, thank you and Josh Hilkeman for that. That was, I mean, you guys treated me to like a 5-star dining lunch. It was great. I've never had teriyaki steak pizza in my life. Yet I did at the training table, and it was everything you would hope it would be. That was phenomenal. Well, and what was great is then you guys proceeded to, because I remember seeing the old training table, and this was a long time ago, and I thought that was massive, the old training table. And I love how you guys took me to the old training table afterwards, and I got to see how truly big the one we were just at is, because it made that one essentially look like a glorified closet. So... yeah, that was the facilities. I've only seen the exterior of them, and just having a chance to walk into that section of the new facilities and seeing that was unbelievable. And even the pictures that you see of it when you finally walk in there, it is so impressive. I can only imagine. I mean, I'm 46 years old. I've lived a little bit more of a life than an 18-year-old on a recruiting trip, but I can only imagine what their eyes must be like when they see, oh, I get this for the next 4 to 5 years? Okay, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah, so I was going to say, now you understand when recruits mention the training table as factoring into their decision. It makes sense, right?
We needed another hour there, and I needed to maybe wear sweatpants because there were so many things that I left at the training table that I really wanted to eat, but I know we only had a certain amount of time to get that done.
Oh, we enjoy being able to partake in that, and it's cool, the camaraderie. I think. We talk a lot about the food and just how nice it is, but you can really see, too, all the different athletes and coaches and staff interacting, and that plays a big part into the family atmosphere here on campus.
Yeah, I can imagine if I was talking to Renee Brinkman with Nebraska baseball, because as we were leaving, I saw her having lunch with some people, and when I saw her a couple days later, I was telling her I had seen her there. I didn't have a chance to say hi, and she's like, yeah, we that's where we have lunch all the time. And it's like, think about it, if you're off campus, you're like, oh, where are we going to go to lunch? Well, you have that right there. You might as well just go there every day, because it's not going to get old at all either. So yeah, that's just fantastic.
Lots of options too. I'm kind of the picky, I don't think I'm a picky eater, but I do not eat red meat. And we've talked about this on the show. I get a lot of crap for it, so you can join the club. It's fine. I can handle it. But there's a lot of options even for people like me who maybe have some restrictions on what they like to eat. But good stuff. That's going to do it for us. What a fun 2 hours. Again, appreciate Amy Williams joining us in hour number 1. And Coming up tomorrow, we got another full 2 hours. We're going to hear from Will Bolt, and we're going to dive into the Diamond Sports opening weekend for Husker softball. They had a big win over Tennessee, and then opening weekend, this coming weekend for Husker baseball. We're going to dive into all of that here tomorrow night. Thanks for listening. Have a great night, and stay safe.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online.